It's Affy, and today I am here to do my March wrap up. I am quite late on this video, but better late than never. I read 5 books in March, and I'm just gonna hop on in. So the first book that I read in March is by Alyssa Braden. This is Temptation of a Highlander. And this is the, I believe, second or third book in the third book. This is the third book in the Midnight in Scotland series. And I enjoyed this one as much as I enjoyed the first and second book. It was really, really fun. Really action-packed. I loved how action-packed it was. In this story, we have Campbell and Clarissa. Clarissa is visiting her friend Kate from England. She's in Scotland visiting her friend. Clarissa has a stalker, and she kind of decides that, you know, if she's in Scotland, maybe her stalker will leave her alone. Maybe they won't know where she is. And so she's in Scotland. She decides she likes it. She's gonna stay in hopes that, you know, her stalker won't find her. But he does. She's hanging out one day, she gets a letter, and she basically is like, I'm gonna have to leave, and she tries to tell them like, hey, this is what's going on, I can't stick around, I don't want you guys to get hurt and stuck in the crossfire, like, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna leave. And basically the other McPhersons are like, we don't want you to leave. That's super dangerous. Like, you don't even know where you're gonna go. How about instead you just stay with our brother Campbell and he will protect you. Campbell is very quiet. He's kind of unassuming, and he lives way out in the boonies somewhere. And so they're like, he'll totally be able to protect you. You know, who's gonna be able to find you all the way out there? And she's got a little bit of a crush on Campbell. She's very weird the way she acts around him because she likes him. She's always flustered, and she'll make all these like double entendres and say all these weird sexual things by accident. And he kind of finds that cute about her, but at the same time he's like, this girl's kind of weird. But she ends up moving in with him, and he decides that he's going to teach her how to protect herself. So he's teaching her how to shoot a gun and fight. So she's out there with Campbell, and, you know, they're starting to have the feels for one another when she gets another letter by her stalker. And at this point, Campbell's like, all right, this is bullshit. Like, we got to get out there. We got to find this guy. And, you know, instead of waiting for him to come to us and waiting for him to come and try to take Clarissa, let's just go out there and let's find this guy ourselves. It's very, very interesting. The ending was, it was a lot. It was a lot happened at the end of this book, but it was so much fun. I had a jolly good time with this one. I was really excited by the stalker aspect. Not because I think stalkers are cool or anything like that. It's not that at all, but it just brought something like a lot of tension to the story, and I liked that about it. For this one, I wrote that Campbell is tough, rough, and buff with a surly attitude and mood, and I think that's a perfect way to describe him. In some ways, it felt like he went from not really paying a lot of attention to her to being like super obsessed with her in like a very short amount of time, and that felt like it wasn't paced very well. I gave this one 4.5 stars. Like I said, with the pacing on kind of the relationship between the two of them, it felt a little too quick for me, but outside of that, I loved everything else about the story. The next book I read in March is by Lorraine Heath. This is the first book in the Chessman series. This is The Counterfeit Scoundrel. And this book was interesting. In this book, we have Daisy and Bishop. Daisy is like an undercover investigator, and she investigates like people who are cheating on their spouses. She gets asked to find out if this woman is cheating on her husband, and the woman has been seen at Bishop's house. So she decides that she is going to go undercover and pretend to be a maid in his house. Bishop notices her immediately. He's like, "Ooh, who's that? Who's that new maid? Like, she's kind of cute." And she's like, shit, because she was hoping that she could just kind of blend in and he wouldn't notice her and she could just kind of get the information she needs and get out. On Bishop's end, he is actually trying to help women get out of marriages, because this is a time where when it came to divorces, you had to have like very specific reasons to get a divorce. To make it look like he and the woman are having an affair, it makes it easier for these women to get a divorce, because that's one of the reasons that you can use to get a divorce during this time. It was really, really hard to get one, but cheating was one of the things that you could claim if you wanted to get a divorce. Basically helps these women, like, they don't do anything. They just come over to his house and hang out for a few hours. Daisy is able to kind of take over the role of being the snack and tea deliverer. It's so that he's got like a witness to see him with these women. And so Daisy works her way into becoming like the deliverer of the snacks and tea. And at first he's kind of like, oh shit, like what is she doing here? And then he starts thinking to himself, like, this girl's really trying to get like involved in my life. Like, is she an investigator of some sort? He's trying to figure out how to expose her as an investigator. I enjoyed this one. They definitely have a very, they're very attracted to one another, these two. They're like magnets. He really was into her from the jump. Like, he wanted her immediately. And it was kind of interesting to see him basically being like, but she's my maid and I don't want to be that guy, but like she's really, really hot and I can't stop staring at her and wanting to talk to her. So he was having a little bit of a rough time with that. I really liked Bishop, just because of like the way he treated women. Like, everything he did was to help women out, and he treated Daisy with a lot of respect, you know, for the fact that she's a working woman. Like, he didn't look down on her because of that, and I thought that was really cool. I just liked him a lot. He was a great character. I gave it 4 stars. It was a good start to a series, and I'm definitely looking forward to some of the other books I've heard are even better. So I'm excited to read the rest of this series. So the next book I read for March was actually for the Hathaways read-along. This is Tempt Me at Twilight. This is the book for Poppy and Harry, and Poppy is a Hathaway. She's one of the Hathaway siblings, and Harry is a hotelier. He owns a hotel. It's like the biggest hotel in London, the fanciest hotel in London. And because they don't have a home in London, they stay at this hotel every time they come to town. And when the book starts off, she's actually, it's a little bit of a meet cute. She's actually chasing her sister's ferret through the hotel and accidentally ends up in a room with Harry. And they have this conversation, and he just finds her so fascinating. He's like, she's unlike any woman I've ever met. And so he decides he wants her. And when Harry wants something, he does anything he has to do to get that thing. And so he finds his way to get Poppy, even though she's into somebody else and is kind of interested in marrying this other guy. He's like, nope, not gonna happen. I want her and I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to get her. Harry does some things that are not great to win Poppy to have her for himself. And it gets very interesting. I really liked this book. I know for a lot of people they don't like Harry kind of because of his underhanded ways, but I kind of liked that he knew what he wanted and he was willing to do what he had to do to get it. I didn't mind the things that he did. I actually thought it was perfectly okay. Poppy just kind of, she's just there. She's not really a character that you pay attention to or that was even really talked about much in the first 2 books. And so once you get to her book, it's like, oh yeah, Poppy, let's see what she's about, because there's not really any experience with her through the other books. She's an interesting character. She's a bit headstrong, and she puts her foot down with Harry. She's definitely not the kind of girl that just goes with everything. She says what she wants, and she puts her foot down when she's unhappy with something. And so it was nice to finally get an idea of like her character and what she's like. I wasn't sure if my thoughts were going to change on it upon reread, but I still enjoyed it just as much as I did the first time. So I gave it 5 stars again. I really liked it. This is a really fun series in general. And yeah. So the 4th book that I read in March is by Joanna Shoup. This is the Prince of Broadway. This is part of the Uptown Girls series. And I think this is the 2nd book in the series. I read the first book quite a while ago, so I don't remember much about it. To be honest, I don't remember anything about it. This one was fun though. In this book, we have Florence and Clay. Clay is the owner of a casino in, is it Manhattan or somewhere in New York City? And basically, Florence starts showing up at his casino, which is a problem because it's a male-only casino. Like, there's not supposed to be any women in this casino. But she keeps showing up with her sister, and at first he's like, yeah, let's just let her keep coming in and just see what happens. But eventually he's like, okay, I need to figure out, like, why this girl is here. So he calls her into his office, and he's like, what are you doing here? And she's basically like, I need you to mentor me. And he's like, for what? And she's like, I want to open a casino for women. And so he's like, okay. So I don't mind mentoring you, but I have a whole revenge fantasy out against your father. I hate his guts, and I'm not going to stop with my attempts at revenge on your father just because I'm helping you. She kind of thinks about it a little bit, but she's like, I want this casino more than I care about whatever is going on between you and my father. So you do what you need to do. I'm only here for the lessons. Like, I don't care what your issue is with my dad. He starts training her, and he's interested in her, and he does tell her, like, I'm very, very attracted to you. But they start to get a little close and things start to get a little steamy. Clay seemed so imposing at the beginning of the book. But by the end of it, he was just like a puddle on the floor for her. Like, she had him in tatters. This man was in ruins by the time she was done with him. Like, he was just like, oh my God, I've never felt this way before, and I don't even know what to do with myself. Like, everybody could tell that he was kind of losing it over her. It was actually kind of sweet. There's a scene in here where she's at another club and she dresses up as like a go-go girl and does this whole performance on stage just to get his attention, and I love that scene. It was so much fun. So I did really enjoy this one. Like I said, I didn't remember the first book in the series at all, but I really enjoyed this one. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. It was really, really good. The last book I read for March is by Julianne Long. This is part of the Penny Royal Green series. This is Like No Other Lover. I'm pretty sure this is the second book in the series. I think I checked, so not 100% sure. In this book, we have Miles and Cynthia. Miles sees Cynthia at a ball one day and is completely and utterly taken with her, like, immediately. And he is trying to sidle his way on over to her to introduce himself when he overhears her saying something about how he's only a second son. And it just kind of guts him. He's like, oh, okay, so she's one of those girls. She's only looking to marry a man with a title. Fine, I get it. And so he decides he's not even going to bother. Cut to a year later, and she shows up at his house for a house party. She is now friends with his sister, and they're having like a 2-week stay out in the country, like a house party where you invite a whole bunch of people for a couple weeks and they hang out and just party. And so she shows up and he's like, oh shit, it's her, it's that girl. And he's still upset by what she had said about him that year ago. And she doesn't know any of this. So when he finally introduces himself to her, he's a dick to her. He's straight up 100% an asshole. Cynthia, on the other hand, she has just gone through basically a scandal of her own making, and she has run out of town and kind of gone to his house with his sister as a way to escape all the gossip that is going on about her. She doesn't have any family, she doesn't have any money, and she's kind of at this point where she's like, I have to find a husband. And if I don't, I have to find a job. So she's trying to become either a companion or find a husband. So Miles basically tells her, like, clearly, since you're here to find a husband, I'll help you. Like, I will help you with the information you need to pick a guy to marry. He is... I didn't like him. He was a dick to her the first time they met, and like I understood that he was upset about what she had said about him, but at the same time, like the way he talked to her was just unnecessarily rude. Cynthia was an interesting character. She knew how to play these men like fiddles. Like she had them going at each other at one point. Like she knew how to mess with men, and because she's so beautiful that men just kind of fawn all over her, and she just plays them like a fool. And I just thought it was so funny, like the things these men were doing to vie for her attention. There were some really funny scenes in here between the guests at the house party. Just the house party as a whole was very entertaining. Like, I had a really good time reading about all the characters and people that came to this house party. It was probably the most enjoyable aspect of the book for me. Yeah, I really did try to give Miles a bit of a chance through the story, but I don't feel like he did very much to redeem himself, and he didn't grovel enough for me. You know, if the hero hadn't been such a dick, then I think I probably would have enjoyed this book a lot more. Like I said, the best aspect of it for me were the guests at the party, and that's not how it should go when you're reading a romance. So I give this one 3 stars. I don't remember loving the first book in this series either, So I'm not sure how this series is gonna go for me. Just because I haven't really loved the first 2 books that I've read in the series so far. I've heard it is a good series, so I'm gonna keep giving it a chance, but this one just didn't really do it for me. So yeah, those are all the books that I read in March. Not a lot, but I would say it was a good reading month. I had that 1 3-star, but the majority of the books were 4 to 5 stars. So still a good reading month. Leave me some comments in the comments section. Have you read any of these? What do you think about them? Did you enjoy them as much as I did? And yeah, if there's anything that you're reading that you're loving or anything you want to recommend me, definitely do that as well. But yeah, if you've made it to the end of this video, go ahead and leave me a flag emoji, and I will see you in my next video. My next video will probably be my May TBR, because I will be co-hosting the Ever Afterathon. So I'd like to let you know what books I'll be reading for that. So that will be my next video. But like I said, if you made it to the end of the video, leave me a flag emoji, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.